Peace to the family. Peace, love, and light. Peace, y'all. Peace, peace, peace. Peace to the fam. What's good? What's good? I ain't gonna hold y'all. I ain't gonna keep you for long. I definitely want to chop it up. Some things that we definitely got to catch up on. I'm not gonna make this one long and drawn out. I did have some announcements that I wanted to make. In particular, just to, put the family on. I don't know if everybody gets to see my posts, right? I cannot make that an assumption. I can't assume that everybody gets to see what I put on my timeline. So if you are in the Atlanta area or surrounding areas, I wanted to put out and make note that tomorrow we will be making a journey, a odyssey to the Crystal Mountain, otherwise known as Stone Mountain, tomorrow at sunrise. You know what I'm saying? So we're calling forth light workers. We're calling forth, people who want to tap in with community. We're calling forth, people that want to, collectively move on a unified vibration. People are continuously and consistently telling us about what somebody did to us, what somebody took from us, what used to be ours. You know what I'm saying? But we never speak about what we're going to do to utilize our collective powers to take this energy back or to contest for this energy, knowing damn well, that they've been utilizing this particular crystal as a battery for a quantum computer. And that quantum computer, has been charging up with people have been referring to as white supremacy, right? We call it white fragility. There's nothing supreme about it. But nonetheless, it has a very distinct origin story. It has a very distinct use case as to what they've been doing to ritualize this concept, how people have been participating, whether knowingly or unknowingly. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, what other way to do what needs to be done but to do it? So I'm not going to get on here and speak about what it is specifically that we're going there to do. But we're going for ceremony. We're going to ring that bell. Oftentimes when people speak about that crystal mountain, they say that it's hollow, and it rings like a bell, So we just want to put our open heart intentions into the fold of things and let it ripple throughout the cosmos. You know what I'm saying? The city of Atlanta can definitely utilize a prayer of peace over it. The city of Atlanta can definitely utilize, a collective vision for protection and peace. Or continuous prosperity. The city of Atlanta comes with its challenges. You know what I'm saying? Because of the different elements that exist out here. And a lot of shit is just running rampant, out of control. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to oversell it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that if you want to tap in, if you want to be part of something dynamic, the sacred, come outside, meet us at sunrise. And, federal agents, you don't need to send your you don't need to send no agents. We got screening systems. Trust me. It's going to be embarrassing. Don't do it. You know what I'm saying? Y'all want to show up. Don't send no agents out. This is an open call for the family. You know what I'm saying? Bring yourself with an open heart and clean and clear intentions so we could get some work done. This community recently, a few days ago, we we had a damn, I don't even know the words. An inflection moment. An inflection moment, right? We had an opportunity to, you know, make observation of ourselves as a community. So there's a lot of things the community does right, and then there's things the community has not been 100% good at. And that is the fact that this community has so many tools, so many different modalities to, see to the heart of a thing, see to the center of a thing, see within a thing. You know what I'm saying? But we haven't proven to be the best discerners amongst oneself. I guess because it's like if a person arrives at a particular station or vocation in this demonstration that we call life, we say, oh, that person has already been vetted. That person already has their credentials. That person has the necessary criteria to call themselves a healer or a helper or a servant of community, right? So not everybody gets run through the rigorous, background checks. And a background check is one thing, but you have to do momentary checks as well. You got to do self audits, and we are responsible as our own individualized persons, entities, for lack of a better word. We know in legalese what that word person means, but we're responsible for our own energy. You know what I'm saying? The collective is responsible for making observations of your energy outside of yourself to either one, you can't see, or two, you're not willing to check, right? So somebody becomes your accountability partner in your circle, right? Your big homie to be like, yo, your shit looking kind of janky out here. You might want to reevaluate, you know what I'm saying, what's going on, take a better look. We see some things that you may not see, and then you got to make the necessary adjustments if you want to come back outside and, be eye level with your peers rather than being looked down upon, right? So for whatever reason, I can't really speak to where the lack comes. I gave my own ideas just now about it, that when you see somebody arrive or this part of the community, you already have an assessment that there was a vetting process or there's a level of checks and balances that's in place. But that has to be something that's consistent, you know what I'm saying? Because we are continuously evolving and going through chambers. And as much as there's an availability to go forward and you're evolving, there also is back doors, so you can backslide as well, right? So it's not enough to be like, yo, this moon was dope for somebody to do the work. This moon may have triggered somebody while doing the work. This moon may have reminded something of somebody that was repressed. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you don't know that you need work done until after you've done some shit that necessitates that you need work being done. So this Atlanta community was very caught off guard and surprised by allegations that arose about a member of the community who we initially considered an elder of the community. So these individuals are like fixtures in the community. They've been there for a minute. They're almost ingrained within the community. So what happens when a member of the community that might even at one point be considered an elder of the community or even a quote-unquote leader of the community comes up against allegations and infractions? And in fact, you find out through investigation and inquiry that said individual was actually, somewhat guilty. Then you got to start tearing down shit. You know what I'm saying? Where you like, damn, we done had this nigga's name on the wall of fame. Now it's time to tear that shit down. And then those individuals that's connected to other individuals, then they become suspect. You start looking at this shit. And I'm just baffled about how many brothers in this community this year alone have come up short, you know what I mean, with being exposed, allegations dealing with sexual improprieties. You feel me? So there was an elder in our community who was accused of sexual improprieties, unbecoming, himself, unbecoming his, definitely not a elder, definitely not fitting the criteria of what we probably might consider an elder to be. And this is I think this is a story and a narrative that's consistent across communities. And I'm not telling nobody's business. Actually, we have to, speak about it and open in public, because this individual has agreed to go through a public healing, right? A 100-day period of restoring the trust and restoring, you know what I'm saying, whatever level of restorative abilities, you know what I'm saying, an individual has to go through in order to get their act together or get their shit together, you know what I'm saying, or put the devil back in the hole. Now, of course, we know that it may take longer than 100 days, but this is the process that was started, that we agreed upon as community, as a village, to say that, you know what I'm saying, this elder is going to be held accountable for his actions, and this elder has to go through his level of atonement and healing in face of the public, you know what I'm saying, because this elder was not doing these transgressions necessarily just in private. Those private transgressions have affected everybody in the community. You know what I'm saying? So we should actually get an opportunity to see what healing really looks like, right? And of course, everybody has their own ideas about what punishment looks like, and what can be a just remedy for people in the community who transgress. And again, I do not understand why there has been an unprecedented amount of individuals in this community in particular, who are coming across, as sexual predators. You feel me? But there was a member of our community who was once a beloved member of our community, who is now on the latest, longest list of individuals in our community who have been caught up, you know what I'm saying, in these situations. Feel me? So we definitely can utilize some of the clearing and the cleaning and the resetting and the recalibration and the reestablishment of codes and conduct in our community, right? Once again, because we we got children in this community that we're raising. You feel me? We have women in this community who can be taken advantage of, right? And there's a lot of people who are honestly waking up. There are a lot of people who are waking up and coming to the community looking for help, looking for insight, looking for leadership, looking for guidance. And they expect of us to say, if y'all is over there and y'all spiritual and y'all got access to all of these tools and modalities, we would expect that y'all had already done the work necessary to find out who can potentially be, the wolves in sheep's clothing at the, you know what I'm saying, hanging out around the sheep. This is something that I, for the most part, is expected of us. But what I'm trying to explain to you is that I'm telling you, these is biblical times that we in, right? Where this shit is so cunning, right? The serpent is so wise. You feel me? The serpent is so wise and so cunning that although after the fact, people is like, oh, I had an idea, or I seen the sign, right? There's also people that's like, I didn't see a sign, and this one caught me off guard even more so than the last one. You feel me? So yeah, this is a situation and an issue that we can no longer look past, and that is the beguileness, the subtleness, the ability for the serpent to be so cunning. You feel me? And we're seeing this, and we're hearing about it in men and women. It's an entity, it's an energy that exists in the community. This is not relegated just to the quote unquote conscious community, macro, micro. This is taking place, I think, everywhere across the spectrum. It's almost like what people are experiencing on a larger level with politicians, right? We're experiencing that now in the community, and then people be like, yo, but why this community been so stagnant, and it should have been here, and it should have been there, and it should have been here. And you start finding out why. You know, some of the people who had controls of the ship, are corrupt. And the shit can only go as far as they go. And they definitely got glass ceilings over their heads. But you gotta always hear yourself and check yourself and step back and self-audit and be like, you can't even point fingers out this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? You can't even point fingers, right? Because none of us is squeaky clean. You know what I'm saying? None of us is squeaky clean. So it's like, but if you know that you ain't out here raping women, if you know that you ain't out here, abusing the platform that you have, which is, especially if you're a helper or a healer, and especially if you're one that is working with and utilizing the modality of energy work. This has been something that has been consistent, that's coming up in conversations about women who feel that they've been abused by men and women, I guess, for the most part, who have mastered the modality of energy work, right? There's people that have been taking advantage of other people who are vulnerable. And why is that not a surprise to me? You feel me? Why is that not a surprise to me? Look at the world that we live in, right? So macro, micro, do we not see this on every level? If you can be abused, you will be abused. You know what I'm saying? If you can be abused, you will be abused. And then even in situations, there's people attempting to break down your door and abuse you, even if you feel that you're shielded against abuse. You live in a system right now where, from the highest level, there's abuse taking place. You know what I'm saying? Where there's global governments that are abusing their citizens and, you feel me, putting profit over people. So, yeah, hurt people, but what about a hurt species? You know what I'm saying? What about a hurt species of people? What about a whole hurt generation? You feel me? What about an entire hurt generation that's out here hurting one another? What is that ultimately going to lead to? You know what I'm saying? What is that ultimately going to manifest? You feel me? If we're just recycling hurt cycles, we're recycling hurt cycles, and the people who have been entrusted with helping, right, are also hurt and have mastered disguising pain, right? They have mastered covering up the hurt, and they have mastered covering up the pain because they want to get to the bag, right? And now healing is a modality, and it's a business, and it's big business. And as much as people have been called to service to quote unquote help, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people are just helping themselves, you know what I'm saying? To the vulnerable, to the gullible, you know what I mean? To those who are searching, right? They're searching, but don't necessarily have a searchlight. You feel me? And what I'm saying is that if we as this community, as if we got access to all of these different modalities and we got access to this level of intelligence and that level of discernment, we're doing an awful job at discernment. We're doing an awful job at discernment. So what's the odds of somebody who's just coming into this community, right, that does not have the aptitude of discernment yet built into their, their ability to see shit for what it is? What if they come into this shit totally blind? Those people are getting eaten up. Those people are being harvested for their energy, for their resources. You know what I'm saying? And, it's really is worthy of at least a conversation that somebody has to put a light on it to speak to it, to be like, well, goddamn. You feel me? Like, this is what we've allowed this to become to. You know what I mean? And once again, I reiterate that whether we collectively agree upon whether this is community or not, because they be like, oh, this ain't a community, you don't got this, and this is the definition of a community, that's what qualifies for a community. I think for the most part, when I say community, I believe that y'all know what I'm talking about. And even if it's an online community, even if it's a community in the cloud, even if it's just in your mind, these are the people who you tap in with. You making observations of how they live their lives. You like, yo, they think as I think, we alike. You know what I'm saying? They into the same shit that I'm into. You feel me? That for the most part, when you break it down nowadays, that's what people talk about when they speak about community. You know what I mean? And it's never going to be a constructive situation if community is cannibalizing itself, cannibalizing one another. But also, the biggest elephant, or the biggest elephant in the room is, again, these unhealed traumas. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? These unhealed traumas that are just manifesting themselves in all of these different situations. You feel me? So, yeah. Again, there's a brother in the community. His name is Astarius. And this is the individual who has come up on allegations and accusations of misappropriating his platform, misappropriating his vocation, right? He's an energy healer, and energy healing, deals with boundaries and borders. You feel me? When you are dealing with a client and you have access to that client's energy field, you can manipulate certain things. You know what I'm saying? You're all in their junk. You know what I'm saying? You got access to the mechanics of how their whole situation operates. So you could tweak that. You know what I mean? And there was a repeated amount of women who was saying that they felt it disrespected and violated, you know what I mean, by this individual's misuse of his instruments and his energy and his gnosis, his know-how, his knowledge of how to manipulate energy. You know what I'm saying? So we are tasked as community, right? I am not motherfucking Superman or none of that shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm not super duper conscious. I'm saying, look, I still have a responsibility, right, to inform the general public, especially people who I associate with, to say, this is what's going on in the community right now. You know what I'm saying? This is what's going on in the community, and as community, this is how we decided to handle it. And this is not for self-aggrandation. This is not for the spotlight. This is one of the hardest things motherfucking ever, right? Because this is an individual who I held in a very high reverence, You know what I'm saying? This is an individual who I looked up to. You know what I mean? And if anything that I know that we need in the community is more responsible eldership, it's more elders. You know, we need more responsible elders for the council. I done sat on councils with this elder or with this quote unquote brother. You know what I'm saying? And have observed his majestic ability to counsel, his majestic ability, you know, to show up when it's necessary and needed. This is the last individual I would have expected. Feel me? So, yeah, you could become masterful to a degree where, you know, that level of mastery, you know, puts you in this very precarious place of manipulation that you have to have a level of integrity in order to pull yourself back from. And everybody does not catch themselves, right? Everybody does not catch themselves. It's a powerful force that pulls at you, you know what I'm saying, to be bad, to you know, to step over that particular boundary just because you feel that you can, you know what I mean? We haven't been taught discernment. We haven't been taught, you know, we haven't been taught about boundaries. And in particular, to me, it is very important that I speak to this because I was raised in a generation, right? And I'm a little bit, quote unquote, older, if you will, than some of my younger brothers that's part of my peer group or what have you, right? And I remember a time when shit was different and the way that we orientated ourselves towards women, right? The way that we went. I remember when niggas still courted women. Like, I'm that old. I can remember that. You feel me? I remember when we still had a reverence for the women and we held them in a certain regard and you had to approach them a certain way. I remember when there was only one hoe to a school. I remember all of that. I remember when, yeah, like she was an anomaly. She was a unicorn. She was a receptacle. And again, don't take this disrespectful because the whole culture built around this shit, okay? I remember when it was just one and niggas would fight over her because everybody's sperm was swimming inside of her and that shit was making niggas go crazy. And they was fighting each other, taking each other out. And the reason I know that it was so prominent because it's like she never got... niggas would be fighting over her through the semesters. She'd never get replaced. And then the old hoe get replaced by the new hoe. She be a senior, then a freshman come in, and then the shit starts over. I remember this shit distinctively. She didn't have no competition, right? And then by the time she was older, then niggas was coming to pick her up, and then the young niggas couldn't even have access to no more, cause she got her whole bachelor degree. She was a whole valedictorian. You feel me? And she was off bound to little niggas. And she graduated, and then niggas, they strapped work to her thighs and sent her through BWI.
She was a practice run for y'all?
Huh?
Was she like the practice run for y'all?
She was the practice run. You know what I'm saying? But she was so coveted because she was the one that was willing to do anything. So niggas even knew that she was a hoe. But because they can utilize her for their fantasy, niggas was willing to fight and die for her. Right? Yeah, she was a hoe. Yeah. So I remember when things was different, right? So I was in high school in the 90s, 91, 90, 91, all of that. I was in high school, like going from, I think, like freshman. Yeah, because 92, I think I was in Sheep's Head. So I had to be a sophomore going on a junior. That's what it is, the third year?
Third year is junior.
Yeah, so all of that, right? I was there for that. And I remember when the music changed, the frequency. I remember when the West Coast shit came in. And niggas can tell you what they want, right? If you wasn't there, shut the fuck up, please. And if you was there, then tap my line and let's have a real heart-to-heart one-on-one. So I seen the shit change, right? I seen when niggas stop, because this is when niggas was still wearing, like, the height of this shit would be like, you get your little boo and y'all had the same clothes on, right? And back then it was the Mickey Mouse shit. You go to Shirt King and you get her the matching shirt,
Trying to make it to the
nigga.
relationship.
Yeah, that's like you buying matching furs nowadays. You got her the matching Mickey Mouse, nigga. You got her the matching Mickey Mouse. Y'all was lit. Or you went and bought her a name
I
chain.
was just about to say that. She got
And
your
that was
name
my
chain.
graduation. Yeah, I had a high school sweetheart, and she said she was the baddest little short at the time, right? And I was mega popular. I was the top, low life dude in the school and shit. But I was still courting this young lady, cause she was the baddest. You know what I'm saying? But she wasn't with the shits. Like, she was in her education bag and everything, so you had to come correct. So I remember this. I'm sorry.
You're getting a real kitty over there. You're going down memory lane and shit.
I'm just storytelling. Yes, I bought a name chain and shit, and that was my highest accomplishment at that time. Like, I really felt fulfilled. Like, yo, I bought a name chain, nigga. Like, I took pride in that. So we took pride in the courting process. You know what I mean? And it was never like, yo, I'm finna knock the boots right. Like, it wasn't none of that you was expecting. You had a level of patience. You understood it was a process. And if you got a kiss, you was geeking. I remember all that. You feel me? And then shit changed. Like, dudes didn't want to hold their hands no more. They be like, nah, walk across the street. Or matter of fact, just meet me at the crib. Like, I ain't even showing up with you like we even dating. And it just changed. Everything's just changed. Yeah, I don't want everybody, right? Niggas started running game. I don't want everybody in our business, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to protect your safety. All that stupid shit. Niggas started running wild, corny game, and then the women just started becoming disinterested. Like, y'all niggas is corny. Like, we can see through this. Like, this is some bullshit. And then there was a preference again where, it went from one hole in the school, you know what I'm saying? Now she got competition, right? And she like, you an amateur hoe. You don't even got a verified hoe card out here in these streets. What you out here doing? And then they just started, they have this, it just got kind of crazy. And then, it became overrun because there was no brakes on it. So when Little Kim and them came, and mind you, so by this time I'm graduated. I got kicked out of 3 schools, but they sent me to Midwood, and I graduated from Midwood and went to Brooklyn College, right, in the same summer. So I graduated from Midwood in August of 94, 95, I think. 94. I graduated in August of 94, right, because I had to go to summer school. And then by September, I got accepted to college. So I went to college 2 weeks after I graduated high school. But inside of Brooklyn College, they had a school called Brooklyn College Academy. That was like the bad school. That was one of them high schools that was an elective, like one of them schools that they sent all, what they call them? Alternative schools, almost like a 600 school. So Little Kim and Foxy went to the school. They went to Brooklyn College Academy, right? But the girl that I was dating at the time, her name was Santasha. She was the top dog of that school. Like, she was a head booster. She set, she was setting all the fashion trends. She was the baddest bitch, if you will, on campus. And Foxy and Kim was like little dirty girls. You know what I'm saying? They were chicken heads, if you will. And shout out to Foxy, because we used to meet up to boost on Prospect Park. Shout out to Duck, shout out to Dell, shout out to Sport. Anybody that was around at that time, we telling the truth. we used to give Foxy bags of clothes when we used to come back from meows because she used to have the same black and white spandex pants on. I'm sorry. So then I hear her talking all this designer shit in her raps, and I'm like, that's not even you. Like, you not even that. Like, you not that bitch. Like, you need to cut that out. She was rapping somebody else's life. And then the whole world started believing these two young women who was rapping other people's lives. And then I was like, this shit is really getting spooky. Because I'm like, not only are they rapping other people's lives, it's niggas in the studios writing their rhymes for them. So they not even out here rapping other people's lives and they writing their own rhymes per se, even though y'all gonna say, oh, Foxy wrote all her rhymes, granted. Okay. She, to a degree, but niggas was assisting her and helping her pen. And then they was able to program, right, the rest of these women vicariously through these avatars that they created, and these susceptible young women, you feel me, who was going with the flow and just with the shits, but they wasn't strong, founded women at the time. Nigga, I was there. I was there, huh? Mentally. No, they utilized them young ladies to create this wave that we still underneath. We got washed up under it. Because these niggas did not have no discretion. Remember, they were writing those rhymes for these young women to perform. And then it just became a cultural norm in the streets because the porn industry, well, the Brazilian, the Latino aspect of it hit simultaneously when Lil' Kim was talking about taking it in the buns. This is when they started showing that in porno, right? And Titty Boy and them was out. If you know, you know. Evasive Angels, right? JT and all of these niggas, and this was the backdrop. This was the, yes, this was the shit that was going into the social programming. So then now young men are being introduced, right, to sexual orientation by way of porno. They're seeing double penetration. You know what I'm saying? They're seeing massive anal. You feel me? She doing whatever. Right? All of these DVDs is available on the streets of New York, by the boatload. You can't walk down the street and not see this on the sidewalk. Right? Bing, 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 bing. You feel me? So, all of this is now orientating the minds, and then the bad boy wave starts. You know what I mean? Which becomes an encroachment of materialism, this crass capitalism and materialism, unlike anything that we've ever seen. Now, I'm in the streets, I'm boosting, so I understand. I know, shout out to A.A. Rashid, he'll tell you the specific, exact, precise people who were giving, big some of these fashion tips and drop this in your rhyme, say this is where we going with the fashion. Because the boosters was driving, for the most part, all of the fashion trends. This is before the swipers. It was just boosters, right? Because the swipers at that time was all homosexuals, right? And a different echelon period of underworld activity was what that was going on. But it started merging and meshing because the music started merging and meshing all of these cultures. You feel me? They started merging and meshing all of these cultures. And then the club scene started merging and meshing all of these cultures. So the streets, the music, and the club scene is where everything merged and meshed at. You feel me? Wow, the streets was driving, the fashion or the ideology, right? And then the music was crystallizing that and making that something that they was now packaging and promoting across the planet. This is the wave that we on. I still tell people to this very day, we still live inside of Biggie Smalls' dream, right? To this day. Feel me? So it was like, there was just so much energy in a short amount of time. Because remember, Big only had a 3-year run. And that 3-year run was powerful enough that, again, the world still lives within the dream of Biggie Smalls, right? In terms of, and the Biggie Smalls dream was engineered by Diddy, and both of them were students of, Roman Catholics, you know what I'm saying? Dealing with this crass capitalism, crass commercialism, crass materialism. Niggas started wearing earrings in both ears and, 4 and 5 chains and rings on the end. It was just...
It's crazy because as a kid watching that back then, it didn't seem that crazy. And I remember the adults like, man, they like some little punks. They like some little girls. But now, like, when I go back and I look at it, I'm like, yo, they look mad sus.
Yeah.
That shit was mad sus, but it made me think of how this shit really is geared towards the youth.
Yeah. My mama was like,
don't know no shit.
I remember when my mother seen Fabulous on TRS, like, why that nigga got lip gloss on?
Yo, facts.
Right?
The shiniest
earrings, the shiniest
lips.
And that, so I'm in the music industry, so I'm seeing this shit, right? I'm seeing it. Like, I know what's going on. I'm like, okay, this is how they packaging and putting this shit. Because when you pull a curtain back, you see who's back there behind the curtain. And then it all starts to make sense. You're like, oh, so this is where they getting their fashion tips from. This is who's, quote unquote, dressing them. Right? They baking it right into the agenda. And these niggas is sleepy enough and susceptible where they you could program them. And it was easier to program and manipulate the crack rappers. The niggas who already sold they soul, right? When they contracted and started selling that crack, those was the easiest niggas ever to manipulate to this day. To this day. Right. Because you telling your enemy that you the worst type of nigga possible. You the most desperate type of nigga. And you've already sold your soul. So what the fuck is a music contract after that gonna do? Nigga, you gonna do whatever. You out here killing your people for Jordan money. You know what I'm saying? Come and get you some of this Bentley money and let's go kill the planet. Let's slow the whole planet up. You feel me? Let's perpetuate these lies and slow the planet up. What does that look like? I think that we 500 years behind schedule, just because of the shit that we haven't been able to get over or confront, right? Right when we was that close to being able to confront pimp culture in our community, prostitute culture in our community. And I say this because if you are in a war, if you are in a revolution, if you are in a liberation struggle or a battle, right? Go back to what's called the Battle of Algiers. It's a movie. You can Google it, right? In the Battle of Algiers, the first thing, right, that they say have to go in a protracted struggle amongst your people when you're fighting for liberation is the pimps and the prostitutes. Why? Because theoretically, they are the most susceptible people to be turncoats because they've already sold their souls. Right? Those are the easiest people to flip. So them is the first people that you got to get rid of in any struggle to take your shit back. Okay? So now, they was that close. Right? And then the shit widened up. And now you can't even catch it because it's so stained and ingrained into the culture. It's in the lexicon. It's in the subconscious things that we do. And we don't even know that we in violation. That's how deep that this shit is seeped into us. So now, here we go X amount of years later and we in consciousness and we think that we so motherfucking different than dominant society, not knowing that, again, you could come into this shit and you could change your clothes and you could change your name and you could stand on that stage and you could speak all of the motherfucking colorful catchwords, but you never took a shower, nigga. Right? So you still that dirty motherfucker from the street. Now you found you a new hustle, right? And now you found you a new stable of possible candidates to put out on the strip. So niggas is in this motherfucker pimping, right? They out here pimping, and this is space age pimping. This is space age pimping because these niggas is warlocks. They are utilizing now fields of energy. They doing shit that would make a motherfucking a pimp pass out. Like, nigga did what? This shit different. This shit different. You know what I'm saying? And it's different and it's dangerous because it's like, yo, you became a master just to become a fucking warlock? Imagine if you taught that information to the younger brothers about how to utilize subtle energy. You know what I'm saying? How to harness energy, not necessarily manipulate it, right? That's something that they could potentially weaponize to defend themselves against the quote unquote enemy, the real enemy. But these particular these modalities that have been learned by some of the men in our community, have only been utilized for them to abuse, right? Momentarily, yes, they're known for their healing, you know what I mean? But if you heal X amount of people, right, but then you hurt, people as well, I mean, to me, that shit cancels out the good work that you do. Because you still have abusive energy. You still have the probability and a propensity to abuse, right? A trusted, agreement that you have between you and a client. And that devil, should I say, is always standing over your shoulder and just like,
you know what you're doing.
And yet you're conscious of your devilishment. You know what I'm saying? And this is why I said, like, you got to make a distinction in this community, when you talk about dark and light forces. And shout out to the occult aspect of this community. Shout out to the esoteric aspect of the community. Shout out to the metaphysical aspect of the community. You know what I'm saying? But the shit is a very thin line when you are juggling light and dark energy, especially for healing. You know what I'm saying? People are very susceptible to these particular energies and these entities that are taking people over. Okay? Miss Dakini, no, this individual is not necessarily welcome back into the community to continue healing. This individual has to go through 100 days of public atonement, right? So the world gets an opportunity to see what healing in our community looks like, you feel me, from somebody who has transgressed. Now, what we do after that is something that the community will decide, and we can't talk about what comes after something until it's properly done. You know what I mean? So, yeah, and that is a good question, because if somebody is, again, utilizing a line of defense to say, I was not necessarily conscious of my activities, and this is what is being told to us by individuals that are being approached that do energy work, right? They say that when they have transgressed during their energy work, they say that they have not been conscious of it. So the logic of that means that you have been taken over by an entity and you're unconscious of it. Then you can be a vehicle and a conduit for some shit that you are not necessarily responsible for. You're a danger to yourself. and you're a danger to your clients. So no, you shouldn't be doing no motherfucking work until you know for thousand for certain that you have cut off the life force or the you know what I'm saying, whatever life juice that demon has been feeding off of, that parasite has been feeding off of, right? Or take yourself out and save us the fucking problems or the issues, right? So again, I don't think that there's a precedent that has been set, because we've never seen, somebody in our community that has been cornered and you know what I'm saying, brought up on these particular charges and says that, I am guilty as charged, you know what I'm saying? And then the community, right, allows this individual to atone, right, and go through whatever level of healing has been prescribed, right? And as a community, or I guess that we're asking for the patience, the patience of the community in this particular endeavor, because there hasn't been any precedent set to say, yo, this is how it's done. We're moving and pushing through this in real time. You know what I'm saying? And there's more things that are being done in terms of therapy and a lot of other things that have been prescribed in regards to this individual. Also, furnished wands, different instruments, you know what I'm saying? We're asking anybody who has received any wands or scepters from Astarius Miraculi to bury your wands, your staffs, or jewelry that you have received from this individual until this individual has completed their 100 days of healing, right? Or you might want to destroy them altogether. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Yes, brother phase one. So this individual took accountability, right? And you have to afford somebody a different level of if you take accountability, you know what I'm saying, and you acknowledge your errors, then said individual should be afforded an opportunity. This should not be afforded somebody who does not take accountability. Okay? Yes, there's a level of grace that comes along with that. And that's not saying that, as a community, that we are turning our backs or ignoring what's being said or forgiving. You know what I'm saying? It's saying that the healing process has begun, for the victims, right? The community, and also the individual who was a perpetrator. Now, for some people that might not be enough, you know what I'm saying? But it's a start, and as a community, it's what we came up with, you know what I mean? Yeah, so it's just a heavy weight, you know what I'm saying? It's a heavy weight on the heart to be disillusioned by people who you revered and held in a particular place, in your mind, you know what I mean? Now you have to reverse that. You got to tear this down. You got to tear them, the pictures off the wall and shit, and you got to start all over. But you also reminded, again, that there's much work that needs to be done. You know what I mean? Even with self, you utilize it as an ability, as an opportunity to audit yourself, right? To check your own self, to check your own ego. And brothers in particular, let me just talk to y'all, right? because this shit can come up and it's going to continuously come up, and we keep seeing it in our community. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, right, it's coming out a lot in this community. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, do you think because a shorty like your picture that she might want to give you some box? Right? Do you think that if a young lady that's attractive follows you, you know what I'm saying? Do you think that that means that you got a chance, my nigga? And I'm only asking you these things because, again, there's so many subtle things that are taking place in this new dynamic of light, right? We are on the internet. This is a new way to be seen, right? It's a light spectrum. I'm talking to you out of a light box. You feel me? This is how we interchange and exchange energy. So it's nonsensical for me to think that there might be things that you coming onto this platform for, because majority of us are coming on here for a dopamine hit. You know what I'm saying? We coming on here for a dopamine hit. And let's be clear, Instagram is a dating app. Instagram is a dating app. Any motherfucking app that gives us the ability to see one another and interact and interface, right? And you can sit back and observe somebody and peep game. You're gonna get to learn more about a person following them on IG than you would on what's the relationship apps called?
All of them.
Some of them, yeah.
I don't know, Tinder. What's the other one?
I don't know. I don't know.
Christian Mingle. I want to say Black Planet so bad, but that's the old right.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a dating app, but I'm saying these apps masquerade as dating apps. There's a lot of sliding in the DMs that take place. You know what I'm saying? OnlyFans wouldn't be OnlyFans if this was not subtly built out as a dating app. It might be a finesse dating app. Nigga might think that you getting on, right? But these mediums and these vehicles is how this shit is being done. You dig what I'm saying? So I'm like, for the young brothers, like, don't get yourself worked up because these apps don't, or this generation or this culture does not teach us boundaries. You feel me? It does not teach us boundaries. So I'm going back to the conversation I was having about in the 90s. And y'all roasted Charleston White for saying this. And I hope that y'all don't want to roast me for saying it as well. I'm just going to put it on the record and absolve myself at the same time. I don't think I've ever ran a train. I don't think so. But there was plenty of trains that was getting ran, right? And that was around the time when young men, right, was orientated into sexual activity, and it was done in a way that was very crass, meaning that when Shorty was saying no, niggas was going harder, right? Almost as like that shit was a reverse yes. You know what I mean? And there were situations that jumped up, out of them situations, like, oh, niggas was rat packing shorties, right? That wasn't always with her permission. You know what I'm saying? Niggas was rat packing shorties. Niggas was out here doing the most. And it was something that you don't even look at and think about until 30 or 40 years later, when niggas is now talking this conversation and pointing subtle things out. Be like, yo, I'm just saying.
Well, what was the catalyst for that? What was the catalyst for that? Like what?
What was the catalyst for what?
For that energy, that dog.
It was the doggy dog world. The whole mentality, the whole care package that came with the Snoop shit was a whole nother mentality. You know what I'm saying? Gang culture, that whole dominating force, that whole energy that came over it. Because I remember, like, we had gangs in New York prior to Crips and Blood. We had crews, we had sets, we had posses. You know what I'm saying? Niggas had their territories. You had everything that you would see on some West Coast shit. But we also, I think there's something that was unique to what we had, and this is unique to the East Coast period. Think about it, even with hip hop, the East Coast period has always been more liberal towards women, especially in music. No other coast in music allows what's considered the quote unquote liberalism of their women in hip hop, right? Think about it. No other coast allows the quote unquote freedom of expression, right, of their quote unquote women in hip hop. So even in New York, like we had gangs and they had the female versions of them.
New York women is
right? Niggas had Decepticons, they had Deceptinets.
Yeah, New York
right?
women is different.
Every gang that I could think of, they had the women version of it, right? So the women was on they shit. The girls was on they shit. You know what I mean? As well. But when the psychology or the psychosis started changing and, it just started becoming more aggressive, you know what I'm saying? And then there was a lot of young men that got orientated or introduced to sexuality through selling crack, right? They was out on the block. They was off the porch at the age of 13, 14, and 15. Now you getting taught crack. You getting taught sex by a crackhead. But you're churning out a grown woman, or you're getting turned out by a grown woman who's on crack. So she's going at it different. You're not making love. There's no sensuality involved. It's very aggressive. You know what I'm saying? It's very aggressive. And I just seen niggas just got really more into their animal nature. You know what I'm saying? They just really got more into their animal nature, their primal nature. You feel me? And I think that when you even, again, being on the block, hustling and all of that shit, you and your primal self. It's you against the world, for real. You not part of no brotherhood. Only your clique. It's you and them versus everybody else. Tell me if I'm lying. Like, a nigga could come up to you and give you £1 if they not part of your crew. A nigga could slap. Could a nigga even be on your block? No, you cut yourself off from the collective and the whole. When you picked up that piece of work, it was you and your fellas versus everybody. I'm just saying, tell me why I'm lying. Nigga said strawberry. What, you from around my way? You knew strawberry too, or every hood had one? God damn it. Yeah, shout out to the strawberries of the world. You know? The strawberries of the world, they did it all. They was hustling. They ran work across state lines. They went and got the guns for niggas, and they was strippers. Right? And they was lining niggas up. The strawberries was the illest. Shout out to Strawberry. Right? So there was just so much shit, that went into our mind, you know what I'm saying, that was not benefiting. It was not beneficial to our psychological development. It added to our dysfunctional development, you know what I'm saying? And now here we are, so late in the game, and we can't even recognize what a violation or a transgression is because it's so ingrained and built into our culture that we like, what? So I'm like, yo, pump your brakes and take it slow. I can't even tell you to be respectful because you haven't even been taught respect. You know what I'm saying? I would have to tell you, take some time and go out and find out what respect is and what it looks like. Speak to men from different culture and ask them, how do they treat their women and why? You know what I'm saying? Like, this shit is very far gone. I don't even know how to reverse it. We would have to have, like, national town hall meetings every day. Yeah. So, again, East Coast, you know what I'm saying? That who you calling a bitch? They let they women, make protest music, stand up, you know what I'm saying, at the forefront. Niggas wasn't like, you gotta get behind me. You know what I mean? Like, it was very liberal out here. We know that it was not like that out west. Right? You could look at that shit. And, I used to live out west, so I know. I'll tell you some stories. You feel me? They got them under their motherfucking heel for real. Right? It's a very, very heavy, heavy pimp mentality that encompasses the South, the Midwest, and the West. And the only where that women get a breath to breathe is up north. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we don't take no shit.
I'm saying.
Watch it fucking with it.
So, needless to say, and then she's the prototype around the world, right? She the prototype for the one that don't take no shit is a around the way girl, right? Pretty much an East Coast prototype. Maybe what LA through the movies, but we know that that's not the reality in LA per se, right? They hard on them. They hard on them, bro. You can see it on their body by the time they 19, 20. Am I lying, my niggas? Do you not see it on their motherfucking body out west? You see the way that they wear that shit out there? That shit looks like if pressure was a person. How you do them young women like that? Remember what you was talking about, baby? How you was talking about the young lady body had looked at?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking about. I was like, damn, when I be seeing some of these young women out west, and they in their early 20s, and they got.
Part of it is she used to go out west, and he had her doing movies.
You like, yeah, you like, damn.
And so, like, as I began to learn, that's what I'm saying. Like, I never saw nothing like that up close, and somebody so young that your body is physically
You like,
worn out.
yeah, the body, it looked like the whole gang ran through. You could just see the energy on the body. Shit like Children of the Corn. Huh?
Literally.
Just saying, like. These eyes still work, y'all. My shit slanted for a reason. I'm getting in what I need to see, and I'm cutting the rest out. And I people watch. I go places, and I tap into the grid just to feel that shit. And I'll be like, God damn, this is a lot of pain. And them women out west wear that shit. And if you, again, I said it on the other live, if you a dark-skinned sister out west, these are the things that we just need to atone for just off the knuckle to be like, you have no idea what she went up against, right? The programming that has conditioned the minds of our men to perpetuate pimpery and all other sorts of mind fuck. The more melanated our women are, the more that they bear the brunt, especially out west, because them niggas dog them out, right? They are, They remind them every chance they get, right, that they don't fuck with them. And then that shit scrambles their brain and they become a whole nother entity, you know what I mean, doing whatever it is that they out here doing for whatever route they out here doing it for. Now I see this clip going around about the IG owns the women, the dopamine hits. I shared it too, I think. And I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't think that it's just the women that's doing it for the gram, though. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that it's just the women that's doing it for the gram. You feel me? And yeah, it's like, yeah. niggas is giving bad bitch too. I'm like, but niggas ain't doing it for the gram.
Now I wonder. I'm sorry to cut you because it's something that
Oh,
I've been
just speak up,
wondering
baby.
is, do some of these men, and not all of them, but maybe, I don't know if we want to say beta, I don't know, but are some of them jealous of the women, especially this Instagram era of women? Like, they don't like the fact that you get perks because you're pretty. They don't like the fact that you could post your ass how many times a day and you get a sponsorship, and they can't really do that. They know everything about what women have, from the bundles to the lashes to the white toenails. Like,
I'm a hypocrite, and I told my lady about my hypocrisy yesterday, so I'll share my hypocrisy here. Right, 2012, I had started a new relationship, and I did it real sloppy, right, and I was with this young lady, and prior to that, I was in my promotional bag. I had shit that I had to sell. And every now and then, because I was selling my health products, I might take my shirt off and do a pull up or two. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't think nothing of it. I'm just like, oh, it's just regular shit. And then I woke up one morning and shit. I went on my phone, and this young lady was in her panties on the Instagram selling her product. Nigga, I got so bent out of shape. I did not like that at all. You feel me? I felt very uncomfortable. I felt very, disturbed and bent out of shape. I was like, God damn, like, you on the internet in your panties? Like, for real, this is what we doing? Like, you got to do this to sell product? You know what I mean? And, like, I wasn't calling her a hoe, but I was like, this is reminiscent of hoe culture. Like, where we at with this?
like when y'all see that shit online, it's good, but when it's your woman, then it's like clutching.
Yeah. And I was guilty of the fact that I would scroll through my Instagram, and it wasn't even by choice. I'm saying this is when my timeline was flooded with at night though. This is when the shit was still relegated to after 10 p.m. You know what I'm saying? Your shit turned into OnlyFans before it, because this was before there was OnlyFans.
Back page.
Right? It was, back page was still popping, but my timeline would be busting. And I was guilty of, I might have looked and maybe liked every now and then. You know what I'm saying? But I was guilty of at least observing and taking note. You know what I mean?
What you taking note of?
Oh, this is that, and that's this. Why? She would look.
Keep her. I want to know. That's what I'm interested on what goes on in the mind of a man while you scrolling through Instagram.
IG at night.
And what makes you like it? What makes you double tap? Like, because you already like this in mind.
But
what is making you double tap?
Because
like, why you gotta let her know you like it?
You lose your conscience.
Okay. See?
You jump all the way out there.
That's y'all go to?
Yeah. We leap.
Like, when you don't want to take accountability.
I just took accountability.
You said I ain't conscious. You wasn't conscious of the fact that you double tapped your finger?
No. What did
that's a conscious decision.
No, what did I just say? I just said.
You said you was unconscious in the middle of it. You ain't even realize you did. You just did it.
I'm saying I jumped out. It's like jumping out of your body. So I'm not saying the ghost did it.
That's what it sounds like. It's giving Casper.
I'm not hanging this on Casper. No, I'm just saying, like, when I'm saying, like, if I was conscious of it, I'd be like, don't do it. But I'm saying, you'd be like, oh shit, and you just go and you tap it. It's impulsive. Without being conscientious of it to hold yourself back, you just let it go because you like it that much.
Because I think
you like it that much.
That may be part of where some of the women have an issue, especially with they men being on social media. So, like, you're gonna see shit. We see shit all the time. Niggas is always in our DMs with a whole bunch of eggplant pictures. But why you gotta double tap is weird. It's like, why you have to double tap? You saw it, you liked it, cool, whatever you did. So why you gotta then let her know that you fuck with what you just saw? So now, like, after you ask the men the question, if a woman double tap your shit, do you think that, you know, she into you? Maybe men do, because maybe that's what they've been doing this whole time. You watching ass up there. You seen it. She don't even know you. She don't know you seen it. The bitch got 15 million followers. Don't care about your shit. 25,000 other people like that. Here you go. Double tapping. Now you in an argument with your shorty.
Yeah. I wanna have all of these conversations because this is very necessary, you know, again, about how we miss the subtleties of how we act and why we act. You know what I mean? And what it means on the larger implications. So she going through a whole psychology session with me right now to be like, okay, she not can see you, but why you tapping it? You think she gonna slide in your DM and be like, thank you or something?
A man, it may be like a mental thing. It may not be nothing to you. It may logically you may know how you feel and how you respond to women that you like. And even though you saw the ass and it may be something that you like for the moment, you like it and keep scrolling, to you in your mind, you know you got your woman. I love my woman, ain't shit. But to her, like men love to say, women are emotional beings. So if you know I'm emotional, why you not watching out for my feelings? Like, why not pay attention? And I'm not saying you personally. I'm just saying.
Because I was about to ask. I was like,
I'm not saying you personally, but I'm saying that sometimes when
you see my likes on somebody's shit?
As women, I ain't gonna do it. We ain't gonna have that discussion online.
Okay.
You know, for your sake.
But because you don't know.
What?
That ain't making no sense.
What?
I didn't even say it.
Yeah. Good. See how you let me do it. I'm just saying, like, sometimes when we pose a question as women, men's comeback be very dismissive and saying things like that. Well, you know, women is emotional, or women is this, women is that. And it's like, if you know that, why you don't cater to the emotions then? Why you still making me go crazy and act like you don't know why I'm wilding out? Well, you know I'm an emotional being. Like, watch out for my emotions then. Shit.
Right.
So pay attention before you double tap. If you like it, you better mentally like it. Because if you see my name under another nigga picture, you gonna be like, the fuck going on here? Fuck you like that shit for?
Right. For the most part.
Yeah.
And put the spotlight on you.
No, you don't have to. I don't even mind my business.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, if I was to see that, I'd be like,
yeah.
What is that about?
You'd be curious. Like,
yeah.
And so one thing you said, though, when we were speaking about the situation with your previous relationship, one thing you said was you felt like you had no control. And I wondered is that what plays a big part when it comes to men? Because that's what it's looking like with this new whole culture thing. It looks like the men are out of control. And now they complaining about women doing the same exact things that women was complaining about men doing when I was growing up. Now the men is, you know, clutching their acacia beads and they are shocked and appalled and can't believe these women out here acting like this. But it's almost like you kind of created that monster.
Ooh. Man.
You know, so women, maybe need to take some accountability, but when did the men take accountability for what was created? Because I grew up in it and I saw the transition. I wasn't here before when it got started, but I saw the transition.
Okay.
You feel me? And it's like, to see where the women are here, I'm like, well, it only makes sense. It makes sense. How else would you have wanted her to come out of that?
Yeah. How else would I have wanted her to come out of that?
Oh, that specific one. I'm talking about the women in general in terms of the culture. This more, I don't even know if I want to say promiscuous culture, but
just more expressive culture.
Because as a woman, you know, I have my reserves about some things that are done. but it's kind of, I told a line because as a woman, I know how sometimes I want, like I told you, if I could, I wouldn't wear clothes.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's just
So
an example.
I'm gonna take accountability. There's I've been in relationships and still have pressed liked on pictures, and I know better or I knew better, and I still did the shit. And yeah, it's sloppy and it's embarrassing because it don't make sense. It's just really showing that you don't have control and you're really not in your right mind. And I think that, you know what I'm saying, the app, the comfortability of the app has us, losing sight of sometimes where we're at, what we're doing, and why we're doing it. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the app is definitely playing, you know what I'm saying, some very deep neurological, psychological games, and it's allowing us to lose our shit. You feel me? And we not even being practical. You know.
It's one thing to look at women and try to figure out what the likes do for them in terms of dopamine wise, but as a man, what is it about giving the like does it make you feel like your opinion or your like matters?
No, it's an extension, right? That button means I like that shit. So it's almost like you could say it to yourself, but you really want to say it to the world, or you want to say it to the girl, or you just want to say it externalized. That button is like, I like that shit.
That's the part where that's why women be going crazy. That part. Because that's what we know. And when we ask, niggas be trying to act like you understand what we saying. Oh, it's just social media. It's just Instagram. It's just Twitter. But you know what the fuck you doing and you know why you doing it. But I also think that society has given men a pass to act stupid when they question about certain shit. Well, I'm a man. That's what we do. That's what I like. But it's like, nah, you man or you God? Which one? Pick a poison. You man, you God, you king, or you brother. Who get to do what? Or you nigga? Which standard you want me to hold you to?
I mean, that's a good question, and I think that this is probably a discussion that people should have personally, individually, to come up with, you know what I'm saying, that understanding and that level of criteria. But once again, these are conversations that we're not having. And then it gets, you know what I'm saying, out of control, and you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It gets blown out of proportion because nobody really knows where anything is coming from.
Right. Then it becomes culture. It's like you've been doing it for so long, right? And this is going back to what I'm speaking about, the subtle things that we were doing prior to that we've been doing so long that we don't understand is out of order or abuse or overstepping boundaries or just goofy and shit like that. You know what I mean? How are we ever going to get to it if we don't have an opportunity to discuss it and put it under the light, put it in the forefront?
The problem is now because every demon is showing his hand, is showing his face. It's like everything else, when you let it fester or grow for a long period of time, it's going to show itself. And now, like we've been saying forever, it's the great reset. So this is the time where you reassess those things. You see it coming up. It may not make sense to you, so let's have the conversation. And this is the importance of everybody doing that individual work. Yeah, collectively we need to unify, but individually everybody got to do their shit in order to come to these understandings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it definitely, still necessitates that there's a lot of work to be done. You know what I'm saying? And there's definitely a lot of demons that are popping up and jumping out during this particular time. And, discernment and discipline and discernment are your best friends right now. You know what I mean? And it's not even summer yet, so this is just a precursor of what we're gonna be going through and what we're gonna be seeing. All right.
Value and self-worthiness.
Somebody said it's no different than allowing your man to watch porn. Oh, y'all going there today? Okay.
Shit. Come on in.
Jesus.
I'm saying, at the end of the day,
Is that
grown people.
Is that cheating in a relationship though?
If you watching porn, I
Hmm?
don't know.
But what would be the lines for it? Somebody would just be like, "Well, I like porn," but you're in a relationship. Like you can't. It's something that you're looking for that you are not finding in the parameters of your own bedroom. You got to go into the fantasy realm.
Maybe it might depend. Might depend on couples. Some people like to watch it together. Turn some people on. Some people don't care. Some people care. Some people feel insecure about it. Some people don't. Again, it just depends, individually. But again, it comes down to you know what works for you and what do you know, like what you know about yourself. Same thing with the whole IG thing. Maybe some niggas might know why they liking shit, some niggas don't know why they liking shit, but it's up to you to determine why you're doing something. And I know me and you were discussing, there's a difference between doing something because you want to do it or doing something because you feel like you have to do it.
Right.
So to each his own. I mean, if you know why you're doing what in your relationship, then that's going to be a discussion between you and your partner.
Ooh.
I can't tell you that. The more I learn, people, different things float, different people vote.
Different things float, different people boat.
I'm just saying, keep it real, keep it real with yourself. If I ask a question, don't try to play me like I'm crazy or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's been a lot of that mind games going on. Bitches is fed up now, whatever. But they just gonna do what was done to them.
They're gonna do what was done to them. That's where we at. Fair enough.
It's sad, but I think, there could be some restoration.
Yeah. Could be restored.
Again, it comes down to values. Now it's time for everybody to get their role in the matter. If you're a man and you don't like the way this shit is going, then, y'all gotta step up and be a man worth following. Period.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody said it's so hard for some people to just be real. They have no idea who they are most times.
And that's the truth. That's the real deal Holyfield right there. That's the truth. It is what it is. But these type of straightforward conversations help you to kind of figure that out, and a space where you don't, there's not judgment, but there's honest questions. Just people asking you questions just to make you think, because maybe you ain't think about shit like that before.
Right. I mean, yeah, that's why conversation is necessary, because there's a possibility for questions to be posed that you've never heard before that'll make you think a whole different thought, access a different part of your mind, approach it from a different angle to be like, I never thought about it like that. You know what I'm saying? And this is a good opportunity for me to look at things in full spectrum. And relationships, that particular conversation, of course, has as if shown, it is, it's like it's like a sinkhole in our community. You know what I mean? It's very expansive.
I always think like, and even before I got into the knowledge, to me, and maybe it was my way of coping with certain heartbreaks or disappointments, but I will always, um, you know, in order to not leave a situation or relationship bitter or hurt, it was more so like I started to see these people as a reflection of myself, because obviously, I meet a lot of people, I hang out with a lot of people, but I chose you to be this close with. So even if there's something that I don't like that you did, and it could very well be you and not me, I still have to look at me and say, well, what is it about me that chose this person to be kind of like this, Because in essence, if I'm choosing a partner, it's a reflection of myself, either at that time, in that moment. It's a mirror that I would choose someone to be so close to me, be in my personal space, be in me, and I have a problem with, this person. In essence, I have to look at myself and say, either one, what's going on with me, or why do I attract this kind of thing? And it's not about blame or fault. It's about knowing more about yourself to say, well, why do I want things like that? Why am I attracted to things like that? Why, like what is making me gravitate towards shit like that, or shit like that to gravitate towards me when I know I don't like that? What
Right.
is it that I have to discover? And so I feel like it's important to have these conversations about yourself, with yourself, and with others, because in essence, any relationship you choose, if you take it a step further in any capacity, that is a reflection of you. That's a reflection of your choice.
Mm.
That is and I feel like that might be where it becomes difficult for people to, I don't know, have the conversation or keep it real, because then it's a reflection on the choice that they've made. So if I could say that it's something you did, it wasn't me, then I could absolve myself of the responsibility, right, to be like, I may have played a part in this bullshit. And it's like, well, maybe that person is trying to show you something about yourself.
Right. The 44th gene key, right, is the human fractal. And again, I'll repeat, that deals with human relationships. And the 44th gene key says that any and everybody that you come into contact with is part of your reality, you know what I'm saying, has a piece or a component to your story, right? They all possess, the opportunity to teach you a lesson or leave you with something that's going to help you ultimately level up. Whether that experience has been good, bad, ugly, or indifferent, there's no chance encounters. Nobody that you ever came into contact with, you wasn't supposed to be in contact with. That person was attempting to, pass something on to you, you know what I'm saying, give you a piece, a key to ultimately help you unlock, the vaults where you can gain access to the higher form and version of yourself. You know, but we're not taught to mind the affairs of our own lives like that. And what does that look like? Shit, I'm willing to go through all of these relationships, you know what I'm saying? And damn, what did I learn from this? What was being taught to me? You know what I'm saying? Like, what clicked with this particular person, or this person led to that person, or this person reminds me of that person. Why? Because there's similar ability to learn from this last situation has put me in a perpetual cycle now to repeat it and learn, from this situation. Let me, y'all can still hear me? Can y'all still hear? Let me know.
Somebody called you.
Uh-huh. Okay, y'all can still hear. Yeah. All right. I got a phone call. I didn't know if it cut the feed, but this has been a great conversation. You know what I'm saying? But I got to get ready for tomorrow at sunrise. We are going to be meeting up at Stone Mountain and charging up the crystal, right? I'm not going to get into everything that we're going to be doing there. Again, this is our opportunity as a community to call forth healing that we need, here in the city of Atlanta and abroad. There's many things that we'll be in prayer, praying for, or, pulling on the cosmos, because, we don't passively, quote unquote, pray. We get on that mountain and we make proclamations and commandments. We call forth spirit to do the bidding, of the Most High, represented, in the person of ourselves. So we're gonna pull on that energy. We're gonna ring that bell. We're gonna set a new tone. You feel me? And we invite you to join us. We're just gonna be doing it very early at sunrise. We'll be meeting at 5:44 at the walk-up trail, which can be found near the Confederate Hall, right, in that parking lot. And around 6 a.m., we're going to head up to the top of that mountain so we can be there around 6:20 when the sun comes up. And then we're going to get into ceremony around that time. You feel me? So, again, we're putting out an open invite. If you are in the Atlanta area and you want to join us, all right, and, you have an open heart intention, you feel me, then come through there. You know what I mean? We're going to get some work in. All right? And we'll definitely be talking about this. We'll have more of an extensive conversation. All right? But we do invite you to come and join us. Okay? And with that, I want to say thank you. This was a very important, insightful conversation that needed to be had, and we'll be following up with some more follow-up convos soon. Peace, y'all.